Ahabawa, Shalom, peace and love. I did an introduction of this study called Blindness and how the Most High blinded the eyes of His people until the fullness of the Gentiles. I'm going to start off with another part of that, which is a double-folded blindness came upon Yasharal, Israel. And the curse of blindness came on Yasharal all because we would not listen, we would not hear, we would not obey, like hard-hearted children. After the Most High pleaded and pleaded with Yasharal over and over, they would not obey. Therefore, He took His word, His law, from them and allowed the Gentiles to take it and teach it to us from the obliterated, translated state that they made it. A translation used to keep us in bonds of slavery, mentally and physically. In other words, like a parent who disciplines their children when they are being disobedient or just acting ugly. We take away what is good to them and allow them to suffer for a while. And that is exactly what the Most High has allowed and is allowing us to go through. The promises of Baruch, which is increase and blessings, were spoken over the children of Israel if we obey the commandments. See Deuteronomy chapter 28. This passage was spoken after the proclamation of blessing if we do not obey the commandments. It says that Yahuwah shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and you shall grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness, like natural blindness. And you shall not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save you. That's Deuteronomy 28 through 29, all the way over to chapter 9, as a matter of fact. Keep the words of this covenant, do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. We have not prospered in all that we do to this fullness from that point. I'll say it like this. We have not prospered to the fullness from this point to now, or that point until now, for over 3,000 years. Because we continued to disobey the covenant that led us into captivity. All the captivities had to run its course to its fullness. I can attest to the hindrance and or obstacles that caused a breach in completely fully obtaining prosperity to a level of expectancy. And my experience being as an Israelite descendant who have been a part of the time frame of the pronounced 400 years captivity, have experienced many attempts, whether it be seeking a life of success, peace, and prosperity, or to obtain financial prosperity by building businesses, to only reach a certain level trying to climb the mountain, and have seen many others who have done the same thing over and over, only to reach a certain place on that mountain just to take another dive, another slip, another fall. Yes, there are other nations of people who have experienced the same things, only less frequent, and that those of us who are labeled as the majority Furthermore, Yasharal was originally commissioned to hear, to do, and to carry the lifestyle of Torah, the commandments, the instructions to the other nations. Being on the bottom was not supposed to be the norm for us. Yahuwah calls blindness to come on Yasharal, Israel. See Deuteronomy chapter 29. Notice that in the passages of Deuteronomy 29, only one particular nation of people was being spoken to, Yasharal. Yasharal and Yehudi, Judah, only was chosen by Yahuwah. Isaiah 44, 1 through 5. He says, you only have I chosen among all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. In Amos 3:2, we took a whipping that we are enduring to this day. It's like a time when someone in the family did something wrong and the whole house got a whooping. That is called abuse in today's society, coming mostly from the Gentile nations. But in our culture, whipping was the punishment that could save your soul from hell. It was not abuse. It was discipline. It sure helped me get a revelation. And I do not to this day see it as abuse if it is done in the right manner. Other nations may take part in the kingdom of Yahuwah by joining with Yasharal unto our Mashiach to be servants of the Most High Yahuwah. Notice that Moses was speaking only to Yasharal. No other nation of people were there, except those who came out of Egypt with the children of Yasharal, who were servants of Yasharal. Moshe said to the people, and I paraphrase, y'all have seen all the temptations, all the great miracles, the signs, the wonders, and y'all are still blind. Moshe was reminding the people that the blindness that Yahuwah put on them was still on them at that very day. They were still deaf and blind. They saw what took place and did not perceive what took place because their hearts and their eyes and their minds were spiritually blinded. Yet, Yahuwah have not given you a heart to perceive and eyes to see and ears to hear unto this day. That's Deuteronomy 29:4. Again, take notice of the fact that the children of Yasharal was being spoken to. Yasharal was being reminded that back in the day when Moses at Mount Zion, when he came down from the mountain from speaking with Yahuwah, the Most High, he put a veil over his face because his face was shining bright, that glorious light that reveals truth and condemns darkness. Moses had been in the presence of the Most High, receiving the sayings of the heart of the Most High. Yahuwah was renewing the covenant again to Yasharal. That glorious light that was upon Moses condemned them, and they were afraid. Therefore, Moses put a veil over his face until or when he went in to talk to Yahuwah. You see, Moses was the only man Yahuwah spoke to face. None other could come into the presence naked and sinful. Exodus 34 through 35. The veil served as a reminder of the glory that was upon Moses that had faded away from Yasharal due to blindness for being disobedient to Yahuwah's laws. That light was the same light that's mentioned in 2 Corinthians 4:4. Lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who is the image of Yahuwah, should shine unto them. But they were blinded by the light and could not understand. If that same light was upon them, then it would have signified that they were healed from blindness. They did not believe. They were so rebellious and stiff-necked that the light of the glory condemned them. They couldn't comprehend it. They did not perceive it. They were ignorant and blind and did not even know they were ignorant and blind. 2 Corinthians 3:14 through 16. But their minds were blinded, a veil upon their hearts. That same veil that was upon Moses way back then is still veiled upon the minds of Yahuwah's children until this day. Though the veil was taken away through Mashiach, Yahushua, that's verse 14, the veil is done away in Mashiach by making us righteous. They or we could not read and understand Torah because we did not truly believe. Even to this very day, nothing has changed with the children of Yasharal. Many of us are still blind, mostly with religion. We are living in the day where there's a wave of awakenings taking place by the moving of the Ruach, the set-apart spirit of the Most High. Blinders are being taken away and ears are being unblocked so that we can hear by the Ruach. Many are still in darkness, but the Most High knows who are His and who will hear and who will listen and obey, and only He can draw them. 2 Corinthians 3:1 through 18. I would suggest you read 2 Corinthians 3:1 through 18. And if you have a King James 16:11 version, I would suggest that one. In the beginning of 2 Corinthians 3:1 through 18, Paul and Timothy wrote to the Israelite brothers who were at the congregation in Corinth. He was saying to them that we don't have to go about trying to prove ourselves to one another. We already know who we are and what we all stand for. You yourselves are the words of the letter, the epistles, the words written in stones through Moses. Now, those same words, the epistle of Moses, was exemplified in spirit by Mashiach, Yahushua, that we ministered to you through Mashiach are manifested in you in spirit. In other words, he says we don't have to prove nothing to each other. We all know what we're about. And those same words that was written in stone, they are written in our hearts and was exemplified by Yahushua. Those words written with ink as Moses wrote them, they are written in our hearts by the set-apart Ruach of the living Elohim, the Almighty One. Because of blindness, his word is not yet written in many hearts. If it were, we all would be keeping the commandments. The heart is where the Most High said he would put his laws, his words in us. His words is the letter of the law that Moses wrote. Paul goes on to say that it's not about our own ability or our own selves, but our ability is of Yahuwah, who made us able to minister the renewed covenant. The original covenant, the one brought through Moses, had to be renewed because it was broken symbolically when Moses broke the 2 tablets as he came down from the mountain with them in his hand. By the time Moses came back down from receiving the laws, the children of Yasharal had already turned back to their old heathenistic ways, committing sin by worshiping the golden calf, among many other things. In verse 6 of 2 Corinthians 3, Paul said, "For the letter kill, but the spirit give life." That is the spirit of righteousness. And that right there gives the impression that it is saying that we are not under the law. Not so. The letter is talking about the written words of the laws that Moses wrote down at the command of the Most High. The letter of the laws include instructions for condemnation, punishment, and death. If the laws were broken, the renewedness of those same laws by Yahushua and his blood sacrificed, abolished imminent death, and brought us newness of life through the spirit of righteousness. That righteousness gave us the opportunity to repent, to be forgiven, and made right. That which was written in the letter of the law in terms of the people being able to see was passing away, to later be written in our hearts. So much insight has been lost in translation because the translator's mindset was not that of the pure language of the Yehudah, Hebrew. Those translators did not specify the word letter as the written being the law, or the term righteousness, or the term that righteousness is not specified as the spirit of righteousness. These things, my friends, are another way to keep us blind. The words of the book were sealed. Yahuwah have closed their eyes and put deep sleep on them, their prophets, their rulers, and their seers. Like the words of a sealed book, it will be given to the one who is literate, saying, "Please read this," and he will say, "I cannot read, for it is sealed." Then the book will be given to the one who is illiterate, saying, "Please read this," and he will say, "I cannot read." Isaiah 29, 1 through 10 through 18. The book was sealed among the literate and those who were considered smart, or those who possessed theological or scholastic degrees. They were not able to understand or see the mysteries of the book. Isaiah 29, 11 through 12. There were blind leaders that day as there is today. They did not and do not see and understand. Therefore, they create doctrines out of their own understanding. In the midst of all of this, Yahuwah continued to do wonders among his people, as he said he would. All of their wisdom and intellect within themselves was based on their own fleshly wisdom. The truth was hidden from them. Men resorted to creating deep counsel, created in darkness, away from Yahuwah, like the Nicene Council in 325 AD. And they were actually thinking that they could not be seen and that nobody would know. The Most High sees and knows everything. He will suffer long until the time comes for judgment. This stupidity is the ways of our enemies, making wrong right, calling up down, left right, east west, and west east. You know the story. They have turned everything upside down from the word, the maps, time, the language, and much, much more. Our enemies change things and they change things, and like the people of Yahuwah, whom the truth was hidden from through blindness. Let me say that again. Our enemies change things and turn things upside down because they did not have the truth or understand. And like the people of Yahuwah, whom the truth was hidden from through blindness, they created something out of their own dark understanding. Our enemies had to turn things upside down, flip them right to left by translating and transliterating the scriptures to make it fit. They are not us. You see, the secret things belong to our Elohim, but those things which are revealed belong to us and our children forever, that we may do all the word of the law. Deuteronomy 29:29. Daniel was told to shut up the words and seal the book, Torah, until the time of the end. This is the time of the fullness of the Gentiles, not the end of the world. Before Daniel was told to seal the book, he had seen the visions of all that will take place before the end would be fulfilled. Daniel 12:4-13. When the children of Israel turn their hearts to Yahuwah and obey his laws, then he shall take away this blindness. And I'm going to stop right here on this part of it. I will probably do another section, and I hope that you understand that there is a time for the fullness of us to come to that place where the Most High will restore us, and we must be living in righteousness in order for him to restore us. Ahaba wa shalom. Peace and love.